Hello and welcome to another Let's Play. Me, GamerWolfSix of Komorebi. In the last Let's Play, we are all hungover. Some of us more than others. And we found out our scores didn't really go down because Isaac, the blue dude, did something with a cell phone. He taught us about the system in a way, and he gave the Zero a new identity as Chiron. I wonder if we'll ever learn his name. It is kind of surprising that we've met him several times before and we haven't been like, so, do you have a name? Because somehow Isaac's able to just go into the system, go, okay, creating an identity, here's your cell phone, you're all set to go. And he's probably somebody that's inside the, well, trying to fight the system. Like, more than just being against corpos and stuff. Anyways, time to start. I sit in the chair with my face in my hands. The counselor immediately notices my fatigue and tilts his head. Looks like I was still recovering from our nightclub outing. Well, it's not like a bunch of other stuff didn't happen, but yeah. I guess everything was just starting to take its toll on me. Moving is a big deal. Now, there's all that extra stuff. Of course, I had to keep a lot of it secret from my counselor. The one person who's supposed to help me organize my head. Ironic. He waits for me to speak, but I don't. Eventually, he decides to get things started.
Things must have been rather hectic. It's not like you to be late, Delta.
I tell him there's a lot going on. I'm only half truthful. I say that our nightclub outing was intense, and I'm still catching up on sleep. Based on his understanding of my life, it's clearly enough to sate him.
Well, that makes sense to me. It was your first big outing. I'm sure you saw your friends in a new light, too.
Hammered. Definitely.
Hopefully you like what you're starting to see. That may change if they feel like they've won you over. At that point, a lot of people feel like they can stop trying. It's not a bad thing, and it's something we all do. Enjoy this as a honeymoon phase, though, not the standard. You may start to notice their courtesies and time slowly fade away.
Huh. Usually I don't think of, like, stuff like that. I'm not so much of a social person.
But on the bright side, at least you won't be tired like this all the time. I'm assuming it was a one-of-a-kind welcoming celebration? If not, I may be kind of concerned for your friends.
Aren't you, like, aged and stuff? We're going to be tired, especially for millennials. He lets out a soft chuckle, like he was attempting to make a joke. I tell him that they like a good time, but it was definitely over the top.
Sounds exciting. But I have to ask, is alcohol commonplace in your group?
Does this game actually do the things that other stuff does or doesn't do, where it's like, hey, alcohol, that's not such a great thing, just saying. I nod, common but not a focus. A genuine concern, but I tell him we were just enjoying my arrival.
Very well. Just make sure you're drinking for the right reasons. Sometimes people ask how much instead of why. Think about that if you ever want to self-evaluate.
This seems like a good time to tell him about the bar. Alcohol use might be prominent for a while, especially on New Year's Eve. Oh, and I also slip in the fact that a celebrity bought the booze and moved in.
I see. So you weren't the only one moving in with Isaac. Interesting. Just make sure this celebrity doesn't pressure you into anything. A lifestyle like that can be just as dangerous as it is glamorous.
I shake my head. It wouldn't be a problem. Clay seems to be really nice. But he also experienced Komorebi. I can read, so I'm still the odd one out. That's why I take these sessions, so I feel the need to tell him.
At this point, it's pretty unlikely that you'll run into anybody without Komorebi. Except for me, of course. The odds are just against people like us. But I have to ask, did he happen to tell you about his vision?
It's weird that it seems like they give you choices, but you only got one choice. He told me he got famous by recreating songs he stole from it.
Interesting. You know, you see a lot of people do that. Artists with visions always seem more established in the future. The temptation to steal an idea or two is more common than you think.
I think I've said this before, that I would feel like that could be kind of, not really dangerous, but like, if rock came out like, I don't know, 50 years prior, it might have not, become popular. He fiddles with his papers before resting them on the table beside him.
Have you ever heard of the stolen Renaissance? It's a bit of an older term, but it's still used quite widely.
No. I shake my head. It doesn't sound familiar to me.
Well, right when the vision started, things were chaotic. They permanently threw society and technology down a different path. Some would even argue that it sabotaged a lot of positive change. This is hard to prove, but artists are a pretty good example. A lot of people ended up seeing futures where they created masterpieces. In their haste to recreate them, they fell short and ruined their careers.
Is that kind of like seeing an image that is really beautiful in your mind, but you're not really an artist, so you can only do stick figures or something? That would be rather crushing.
Now, think about all the great pieces of art in our history. There's so many, and their influence on things is incredibly clear. But can you think of any since the day Komorebi began? There seems to be a rather peculiar halt, doesn't there? A lot of our greats taken away. A renaissance stolen. At least that's one of the more believable effects.
More believable? That reminds me of our group at the nightclub. We talked about some theories of Komorebi, even observed ones involving aliens. Which, is probably not that absurd because aliens exist in this universe. It was cool to hear about how visions affected society on a deeper level, though.
You don't really stop to think about these things until they're brought up. But I deal with a lot of patients, and every friend group has an artist. It looks like your new acquaintance just got lucky. That's rare. Some artists are open about stealing from their future selves. In fact, recreating something you saw in a vision is like another form of art. A new skill to be mastered, completely separate from the base medium.
I never stopped to think about it like that, but then again, I've never had a vision. It's doubtful that you'd be able to remember every single detail of something you made. I mean, isn't Komorebi supposed to be something you live with every day or something? Perhaps they just took the most important pieces and filled in the blanks. Curious. But I guess he's right. That'd be a measure of an entirely different skill. It's doubtful you'd be able to remember every single detail of something you made. I think it's weird that we borrow from the future, like it's a resource.
But then we have to talk about the more sinister theories. You know, like if somebody is responsible for Komorebi and all the visions. Imagine that. Having society's growth and art all in the palm of your hand.
That would be catastrophic, were it in the wrong hands. Other theories flood to the forefront of my mind that Argus is responsible. If they could control visions and make us see what they wanted, wow. Part of me doesn't even want to think about that. But the counselor did mention it as in one of her previous sessions. Visions could be a trick to lure people down a certain path. I spent the rest of our session sitting in near silence, almost terrified. A stolen renaissance? Then what else was taken from us? Maybe I am truly lucky not to be bound by vision. A sudden worry for my friends starts to rise within me. Komorebi always was a force that nobody could compete with. But if it also happened to be created, and could it be managed? Well, then whoever was in charge would definitely rule the world. And if it were Argus, then we may already be on their bad side. Wow. Part 2. First in all of history. Chapter 3. I can't smooch the 0 yet? Bollocks.
Welcome to the second of 4 fragment maps.
Okay, I guess that gives me the gist of how long this game is.
This will act the same as the first one, so no further guidance will be offered.
Unless, that's a lie.
Remember to read Delta's diary entries between pivotal fragments, and enjoy your journey.
Achievement unlocked.
Experience pivotal fragment. Grounded, yet free.
If you could make them love you, would you still love yourself? I don't exactly understand that, but okay. Just as planned, the gang meets up in the private jet. Everything was a bit more clear, but far from being set in stone. Especially if you were planning to bring Chiron to the Wayfinder with us. Just by default, places like that already had above average security. But if Isaac really did pull this off, I guess there wouldn't be any issues. The paranoia that the others felt is slowly finding its place inside of me. Ooh. Chiron and Clace are sitting at one of the couches in the back. One of the couches. They either beat us here, or they've been here all along. For some reason, I'm surprised they hit it off. They exchange smiles as they look down at Chiron's phone. Clace must be showing him what he can do with his new device. I bet it feels like a whole new world just opened up to him.
Hey, what are the lovebirds up to?
Me? And him?
Wow, when you say it like that, I'm offended.
No, I just meant...
Don't worry, Chiron, he's joking. Taylor's the king of putting people on the spot.
Yeah, but the crown is just way too heavy, so I leave it at home. Maybe you can come visit and take a look sometime.
Horny.
He's also the king of flirting at the worst possible time.
Whatever. We're bonding over crimes. Isn't that the best way to do it?
Definitely not.
And suddenly, the gravity of the situation sets in. No matter what, we're still aiding and abetting a 0. Would that really make your bond stronger? For some reason, I doubt it. I really hope this has nothing to do with why they aren't in touch in their visions.
What were you two up to, anyway? I hope we didn't intrude on anything.
Ew.
He was just showing me some cool things I can do on my phone. Why do you ask? Is that a hint of jealousy I sense?
No, I can do cool stuff on my phone too. Just didn't picture you two as compatible.
He's pretty cool, actually. He even plays guitar. I'm letting him listen to some of my music.
It's really aggressive. Not a fan of music made on a computer, I guess. There's just something about the feel of those strings, you know?
I like to play this thing called Wonderwall. As the conversation continues, we all move to seats of our own. Chiron really is just like one of us. I can't understand the logic of Argus. It's not like Chiron chose to be born on a colony, it was forced upon him. For example, if I left the city, I'd never be allowed to return. Wait, so I just can't leave cities? And if I had children on the colony, they'd be stuck there too. The choice to separate from Argus condemns your entire bloodline. Seems far from fair.
Well, more power to you two then. Maybe you'll get to feature on his next album.
And put an even bigger target on myself? Yeah, no thanks. I feel scared to even leave this plane. I'm working on it, though.
I hope you are, because I did some recon. Looks like you'll be joining us at the tavern for sure.
Oh? The sleuthing went well?
Far from sleuthing, but yeah. Just have a couple hoops to jump through.
All of a sudden, I'm curious about what Isaac has to say. Finalizing our tavern plans was the whole reason we came here, after all. But now that he says Chiron's come too, I feel a bit more invigorated. Can come. And it makes sense to me now, how him and Clace were able to bond. He was scared to leave the plane, and Clace likes to hide away in here. So wait, Chiron's scared to leave the plane? I probably should, give a bit more time between doing things, because unfortunately, unlike other visual novels, I can't just go back if I have a question. Which makes it hard to think with regards to these. Both things seem to add up perfectly to the sight placed before me.
Hoops? What happened?
Just another thing for the pile, I guess.
Guys, it's not bad, I promise. But we'll have to sneak Chiron in the back door.
What? Why?
Ooh, backdoor.
Yeah, I'm confused too. I thought the whole point of this was for him to be equal. Now we're sneaking him in like he doesn't even have an identity?
Basically.
Wanna tell us why?
I will, but you have to stop cutting me off every single time. I get that you're worried and confused, but you need to let me explain.
No time for explanations. Without a word, everyone simply nods.
Well, it turns out the Wayfarer is running on outdated software. I can only guarantee that my fix works if the place is up to date. We could try, but honestly, it'd be pretty risky.
It's interesting how he's able to A, get this information, but also B, have the wherewithal, is that the word? To go, hey, let's check how their software is, it's outdated, and that would be a problem.
I guess that makes sense. But don't you have experience with out-of-date tech?
It's true, his car was far from current.
I feel like they'd notice if a random guy just pops up. Wouldn't we risk getting caught no matter what we do?
Not really.
Also, is this scanner like in the front door or something? Isaac smirks, like he has everything figured out.
You know how sometimes they ID you a second time when you order drinks? Those handheld scanners are always up to date, maintained by Argus. So, if we arouse any suspicion, Chiron should pass that check just fine.
That's true. It also doubles as a method for payment. Dante held his phone up against one at the nightclub, then when we ordered tequila.
Kinda makes sense when I think about it. Didn't realize a version mismatch was that big of a deal.
It might not seem like it, but yeah. What we have right now is basically a key. I can't guarantee it'll work if they change the lock.
Everyone is silent, following through their promise to let him speak.
We cool?
It all makes sense. Bypass the outdated tech and get them to use a handheld scanner. I looked at pictures of the Wayfinder, and outdated does seem to fit.
I'm cool with all this if you are, but what happens if the handheld scan doesn't work?
Oh, that's when we run.
Beautiful.
Chiron smirks and let out a soft laugh. He scans the plane with his eyes and looks content.
Well, at least I know exactly where to run to. Thanks again, Isaac, for everything you've done.
No problem. Hopefully this is just the start of a new age. Did you see the latest headlines? About Hermes?
Guy who flew too close to the sun?
Who?
The leader of Cipher. No one knows who they are, though. Just a code name that seemed to stick.
Can't say I have.
They threatened Argus. Said they won't back down. Apparently, they still want to get phones to all your friends. They said it'd either be done by them or by Argus.
An ultimatum to Argus. That's certainly bold, but if you can pull this off, I'm sure they can too. No offense, but I'd wager Hermes is smarter.
I kind of wonder how many characters are going to see in this game, because I feel like we've seen all the characters, because I haven't seen any other characters for this game, but it's also like, how would you do this game if you only got like 5, 6 characters?
Well, I don't think it matters if they can or not. If Argus doesn't step in, all the Zeros will starve and die. Remember, due to our rules, this is a hunger strike too.
I don't think Argus would care if a whole bunch of people died. But then what was I going to say? Yeah, Winds of Change, that had a lot of people in it.
And not only that, but Cipher would step in, publicly overpowering Argus. They have the chance to save lives and their own public image. All they have to do is make the right choice.
Let the Zeros live in the city, you mean?
I don't see any other option for the people in power. It seems like a total checkmate, doesn't it?
Lose to a mysterious rebel organization or let innocent people die? If I were Argus, I think I'd know exactly what to do. Pride isn't always worth the price.
So you're thinking that the corporation would do the good thing?
Well, Argus is so mysterious, we have no idea what they're thinking. If this is when they show their true colors, I just hope we like what we see.
Yeah, those protests seem to be getting pretty heated. I'd hate if they escalated into violence and people got hurt. Do you think Argus might force them out of the city?
I doubt it. Remember, the spotlight is on them now. Every move they make will be scrutinized as much as possible. It really looks like we might be moving toward unity for once.
Looks over at Chiron and smirks.
And in that case, we didn't do anything wrong. We were just ahead of the curve.
I guess I'm not surprised. We could see the tensions mounting right in front of us. Let's just hope that Argus wants to negotiate and compromise.
Did Cipher issue a timeline for this?
Yep, right after New Year's. During the anime convention, too.
Anime.
Looks like it'll be an interesting couple weeks then. Happy to be part of the gang and have front row seats. And if the world goes down, well, at least we all go down together.
I've seen the main characters in Winds of Change uniforms. I wonder if that was just some silly edit, or if we're going to be dressing up as those characters.
Love the sound of that.
Of course he tunes in at the first mention of getting down.
Hey, what can I say?
Horny.
Ideally nothing.
A small laugh between friends ensues, as everything seems a bit better. I'm a bit scared, since we seem to be on the verge of a big social change. But uncertainty of what that change is starts to terrify me. I like to believe Argus is good, and they'll compromise with the Zeros. However, we hardly know anything about them, just that they're kind of in charge. This is their clearest chance to step in and show the world who they really are. And by extension, seal our own fates as well.
So, what's next then?
Drinking.
Well, we have our game plan for the weekend. Let's say we meet at the Wayfarer after supper on Friday.
Supper? Are we in England?
It works for me. Kinda excited to see what this place is like. I'll meet you nearby, and we can work on sneaking me in.
And only a few days later, it's time for the Quantum Leap.
The what?
Oh yeah, they mentioned that the other day. I never did get an explanation on what it is.
It's just a tradition I'm starting. You know how midnight is the best part of New Year's Eve? Well, we rig a few clocks so we get to do it 4 times in one night.
Whoa, that sounds awesome. Will Chiron be able to come?
Can I switch a whole bunch of boys?
I'm not so sure about that right now. Let's see how things go at the Wayfarer.
I'm okay with that. Wouldn't want to be a thorn in anyone's side, but I do have one question. Could you take me to the Triple R?
Is that the breakfast nook? We'll exchange glances before directing our eyes towards Isaac.
It's current. Shouldn't be a problem at all. How about we meet there tomorrow?
Sure thing. It'll be our first group outing. Let's just hope that nothing goes wrong.
What's interesting, he's like, did we ever tell him about that? And why would he specifically want to go there?
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna hope.
Taylor holds up his hand, Like he's raising invisible shot glass.
Here's to, living life on the edge?
Carmen smirks, raising his hand up as well.
The best place to be.
Achievement unlocked. Well, we're about 5 minutes short, but that's fine because, you know, the problem with doing these things is who knows how long these can be, which can be for a lot of games. It's like, dating sims definitely if I haven't played them. Can I tab out for a hot sec? Yeah. Solaris I could do whenever I wanted, or Anno. I guess things like They Are Billions or Age of Mythology or StarCraft, I'm shooting my load right quick. It depends on how long the mission's gonna be, or if I hit any snags. What other things we got? Because, you know, some games I can just be like, and we're in it now. While other games it's like, oh, we just finished the mission. Bugger. Or like, you feel like you're close to the end, but then you're not really, and then all that stuff. It's like, ooh, woof. Though, time for a bit more speculation on this game. Like, you can't...
You have already experienced.
It's weird that you can't already experience these things. You can do the journals, but you can't do this again, you can't do this again, and you can't do this again. Can I just do that whenever?
Experience.
No.
Experience. Supplemental fragment.
So, and you can't go back to the previous things. Though I know in Winds of Change, which was kind of funny, I'm not sure if it was an oversight or something, probably an oversight, where I could go back to, like, the first place and talk to a character as if we haven't even gone on the journey.
Would you like to change the status of...
Also, like, what is nostalgia filter? Because either this game is noirish, like A noirish, or B, we're already at the end of the game, and are just reliving the stuff.
Would you like to change the status of the nostalgia?
Speculation. It'll be fun to figure out what it is. Though, also kind of like on my own thing of saying stuff, I have been wanting to play this game, but I've just... I don't know, felt a little bit uncomfortable playing this game for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it has to deal with, you know, boyfriendos and life and people and stuff. And that stuff's kind of hard for me. Unlike, what is it? Not that one. Let's see. I mean, Fuga, that's like war stuff. Halo, war stuff. Stellaris, strategery and war stuff. There are Billions, strategery and war stuff. Elite Dangerous, economics, but also space battles and stuff. Operation Flashpoint, that's war. Heavy Gear, war. Age of Mythology, StarCraft, war. All the other thing. What is that? Yeah, you know. I don't know, I just haven't been in the right frame of mind since I got back from work. Nothing particular I can think of, just, you know, haven't felt good. Well, anyways, I just keep talking. Until next time, on the Let's Play, GamerWolfSix of Komorebi. So thanks and see ya.